congressional fiscal stimulus. What are your thoughts there?
The government's not doing nearly enough and not acting nearly fast enough. They've already come up with $3 trillion. There is a bill in Congress for another $3 trillion that the Republicans hate. And if they're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to provide much more stimulus. My calculations are between 6 and 8 trillion will ultimately be needed. But I've been talking with some analysts in New York who say that the figure is closer to 10 to 15 trillion. I don't know where the numbers are going to lay out, but the 3 trillion so far, clearly not enough. And it's obvious why. I mean, the government sent to everybody $1,200 plus $500 per child under 17. Well, the average U.S. income in this country is $44,000. Net of tax, about $3,000 a month. A one-time check at $1,200, what is that supposed to accomplish? For a crisis that's lasting at least through the rest of this year and probably throughout 2021. A one-time check at $1,200 isn't going to accomplish anything. The government's not going to have any choice but to provide substantially more stimulus, especially the fact that they so far haven't provided stimulus to the higher education system, which is under massive financial attack right now, to states and municipalities and the national pensions that are occurring around the country between unions, municipal, state, and private corporate pension programs that are $4 trillion underfunded going into the crisis. Social Security, where the trust fund is going to be depleted by 2029, creating a 25% cut in pension and retirement benefits for America's retirees over the next 9 years. We've got massive crises on our hands for big companies, small business owners who employ 3/4 of all Americans. The vast majority of Americans who don't own a home or have no home equity if they do have no savings, no investments, no money set aside, who have now just lost their jobs. The government is going to have no choice but to deal with this by providing far more stimulus than they have so far. And the dilly-dallying that's going on in Capitol Hill is simply making it worse. So they're going to have no choice but to act, and the sooner they do, the better. Now, I'm not liking any of what I just said. I mean, I'm a financial guy. I don't like the government going into debt. I don't like the fact that we're going to be providing handouts to Americans. I don't like the fact that we're going to be dramatically increasing, as a result, taxes and inflation rates to deal with all of this. But we've got a burning house right now. And when you've got a burning house, there are only two things that matter. Get everybody out safely and extinguish the flames. Yeah. That's it. Everything else has to wait. Now, we can argue over what caused this fire, and blame the slob who was smoking in bed. Well, we'll get to that later. And we can worry about the water damage from the fire hoses. We'll worry about that later. We don't have the luxury of dealing with those subjects today. We've got to deal with this burning house. There are tens of millions of American households who don't have any money and therefore can't buy food. We've got to deal with this. And the Congress is the backstop for this issue. They need to act. They need to act now.